שמש דקה ומרפא בכנפיה.
Before we continue with the text, we must return to the word study of the Hebrew word ga'al, or the Greek word hriome, which means to release, to redeem. We're talking about the Redeemer who has to restore a balance. He must be the next of kin, and he has to think about the land first. Just to remind you, the redemption of Naomi is the consequence of the redemption of the land, and the redemption of Ruth is the consequence of the redemption of Naomi. So if Boaz wants to redeem Ruth, he has to talk about the land. And now there is a bloody, a dirty, and maybe from our point of view disgusting side to redemption that I want to look at. First of all, that came up when I mentioned that the Redeemer always is also the avenger of blood. That's not something nice. And if the Bible depicts the one true living God as Goel Yisrael, as the Redeemer of Israel, then all these aspects somehow come together and are part of the picture. The kinship, relationship, the indissoluble connection with the land, and that God will lead the legal dispute, the revenge of Israel. When Jacob blessed his son Joseph, he talked about the angel who has redeemed me from all evil. Or when Moses talked about the redemption from Egypt, the exodus from Egypt, he said, I am the Lord. I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and with great acts of judgment. That's actually the third cup in the Seder meal. God's entire act surrounding the Exodus is somewhat under the heading of Geulah, of redemption. And therefore, Moses tells Pharaoh in the name of God, Israel is my firstborn son. And I tell you, let him go, that he may serve me. And if you refuse to let him go, behold, I will kill your firstborn son. In the Psalms, the psalmist very often calls God his Goel, his Redeemer. And King Solomon is certain about the Messianic King. He says, from oppression and violence, he redeems their life and precious is their blood in his sight. And then he warns, and pay heed to the connection between the land and the Redeemer, or the border and the Redeemer. Solomon says, do not move an ancient landmark or enter the fields of the fatherless, for their Redeemer is strong. He will plead their cause against you. God himself is portrayed as the father, it says, of orphans and the judge of widows, God in his holy habitation. It is especially Isaiah the Comforter, the second part of the book Isaiah, that presents the Creator God as the Goel, the Redeemer, the kinsman, avenger of Israel. And the chosen people, therefore, are being called the redeemed of the Lord. And now there comes in this dirty side, this bloody side. Redemption always has something to do with defiling, with soiling, with staining. It is something, if we look at it closely, it's in a way disgusting. Very often the Redeemer is stained with blood. Look at the person in Isaiah 63, this mysterious man that comes from Edom. Edom is the Hebrew word for red, Adum. And it's connected, it's related to the word dam, blood. It's actually interesting that King David, when he was a boy, was called Admoni. I haven't found a lot of explanations for that, but it connects him with his Adom, with this image here, with this man that comes from Edom, from the east, and speaks in righteousness. He is mighty to help, but then he has a mission of judgment to the Gentile nations, and he treads the winepress. Therefore his clothes are sprinkled with blood. He has a day of vengeance in his heart, and in a particular way, a very unique way, if you go through this Isaiah 63 text, you will feel that somehow, suddenly, this man and the image of God somehow blur into one, especially for Israel and from Israel's point of view, until the chosen people, despite of all their disobedience and rebellion, they remain chosen, and they must confess, "For you are our Father." Though Abraham does not know us, and Israel does not acknowledge us, you, O Lord, are our Father, our Redeemer. From of old, this is your name. Every aspect of the Redeemer is in here. The kinship, relationship, the avenger of blood, the redemption. And the rabbis look into these different words that we just simply, without thinking, mix, like to buy somebody, to set somebody free by paying a price, or to redeem. And in Jeremiah 31, in verse 10, you have both words, to set somebody free, to liberate somebody, and to redeem side by side. And there one rabbi says the deliverance is salvation from the perspective of the mercy. If you pay some price and then somebody is set free. He says, but redemption is from the perspective of sacrifice, because the Redeemer delivers his own life, his own soul for his kinsman, and fights for him, not the deliverer who only gives money for the liberation of his soul. So the Redeemer is stained himself with blood, up to the point that he becomes the most despised and unworthy, full of pain and sickness. The one, if you look at him, you find him disgusting, and you hide your face from him. That's the Redeemer we have to see.